Wow, is this the week that the housing bubble actually burst here in North Florida's Jacksonville metro area? We're about to find out. Hey, I'm in week 35 of my series Bubble Watch. That's where we look at those numbers, see what the active listings are all about, how many are out there right now for sale. We compare that with looking at what's sold in this last week, how many are pending to be sold in contingent status. Also, we look at new construction to see how they're doing. Look at the foreclosure numbers of the active listings, interest rates, price per square foot. We even check out a house to see how the seller's made out in this bad market. Now, a lot of folks are saying we're into 2023 now, week 35, okay, we're into 2023. And everyone was saying, you know, hey, this could be the worst market, worse than 2008. Well, I don't know. I don't have information about that. So I look at the real numbers and I share them with you every week. And also, I'll show you some of those scary headlines. Hey, we're going to get to all this in 3. Hey, my name is Tom Kerr, and I'm your host of this show, Bubble Watch. That's right, I'm just a regular guy that happens to be a real estate agent, and so I have access to an MLS system, and I share the back end of that when we look at these real numbers with you to see what's going on in this housing market up here. Hey, we check all these numbers. I get all these numbers, we'll go over them with you, and then I put them into charts. And I sit there and I take these charts, and I've been following this for, now we're on week 35, so that you can kind of compare and we can see what's going on. What we're trying to do is to catch that bubble when it's going to burst or crash, as some folks say, because when's the best time to buy, huh? They're going to tell you when the market's at the bottom. How do you know when the market hit bottom? When it starts going back up. So, what? Nobody has the exact date, or at least they haven't shared it with me. Hey, look, you know what? Like I said, I'm just a regular guy looking at the numbers. And I share them with you. I don't have a degree in accounting or economics. I don't have all these algorithms coming up telling when it's going to crash. And a lot of people tell me that it's going to happen this year, but they haven't given me a time yet because they can actually put it in the comments. So I get a lot of calls from around the country all the time. People looking to relocate here to North Florida. Some people even moving out. Others just wanting to know about Florida in general. And I love it, In fact, if you like these videos, not only just give the like button there, but if you want to use me as your real estate agent to relocate to Florida, or if you're even looking to sell to move somewhere else in the state or elsewhere, give me a call or send me an email as these numbers and the email you see below. Hey, this last week I had 9 people call me. 3 of them are actively looking for a house here in Florida. And man, I really do appreciate it. Thanks. So what we're going to do now is start with these numbers. And we're going to get, as we always start with, the back end of the MLS and the active listings. Okay, here we are in the MLS here. We're going to go to the active, hit the active button. And those that are currently active now, up here in the Northeast Florida MLS, is 6,454. Okay, let's see what has sold in the last 7 days, because this is our weekly show. We go 1 week back, hit the sold button, and that comes up to 284. Contingent taking backup. Now these are under contract. Right now, 598. And take a look at that map while we're here. Those are the homes that are in contingent status right now. They haven't gone to pending. That's pretty remarkable. You can't even see the word Jacksonville. All right, let's go to what went pending in the past week. 495. And look at the dots there. I'm showing the map this week, which I haven't really done all the time. I'll show some, but I'm just amazed when, the market has slowed. There's no question. Has it crashed? Has the bubble burst? I don't think so. Okay, at least not from what I see. And when I see these many people going under contract and pending, and I got some headlines to go with this too, that'll show, because those pendings don't mean they're going to turn into solds, and this headline, you know, tells that. But it's still amazing when you see the dots on the map how many there are, aren't there? All right, let's look at how many people withdrew in 1 week. This last week, 95. How many folks let their home listings expire? Click the expire button. We got 181. And let's see, let's look at those new homes. Okay, new construction sold for this past week, 34. And how many new construction are part of the active? Oh, gotta get rid of the sold button. And there we go, 1,746. Okay, let's look at those on a map. These are the new construction homes that are up for sale. Okay, now not all of them are move-in ready. Like, you could go out there and just move in now or in a couple of weeks or a month. A lot of them, they're still under construction. They're ones that they may not even have broken ground yet, but they will be available, where they've already secured the permitting and everything and are ready to go on building these homes. So they're available to do it. You know, the land, of course, has been bought and all that, but it's still a pretty big amount. Okay, now let's take a look and see what that foreclosure amounts are. Now we're looking at homes that are in the status of foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, you know, and so we want to see, we put that all under the and short sales, and put that under the same umbrella, under what's active. Okay, these are active listings for sale that fall into that category. Let's see what we've got. Okay, we started with the short sales here. The short sales is 9. Pre-foreclosures comes out to 12. And those that are actually foreclosed are 22. All right, we're going to get into next. We go into the price per square foot average here in Jacksonville. We look at those scary interest rates, and let me show you that headline that had to do with the pending. From MoneyWise, home buyers remorse. Thousands of Americans are backing out of side contracts. What you need to know before you cancel a purchase. Okay, right here they say once you've made an offer on a home and the seller's accepted it, there are still a few steps before the house is officially yours. From the time an offer is accepted and when it goes through, you'll be in a limbo period called under contract. All right, people actually look at these articles and read them and think this is legit stuff. Limbo period. I don't know of any real estate term or any realtor that's saying that they're in a limbo period. Okay, when it's under contract, we call it, we're under escrow, but we're not under a limbo period. You know, I know what a bimbo is, but limbo in real estate transaction, I don't know. All right, let's see what else they have to say. Can a buyer back out of an accepted offer? Well, yes, you can. If you or the seller can't meet the contract contingencies of the sale, it will be voided, and that is true. And your most common contingencies on the buyer side are the inspection, appraisals, and financing. Now, if it's just a cash deal, then it generally is the inspection. Here's another something else that I had to laugh at. Making an offer that's accepted is just the middle of a real estate transaction, not the end. Okay, apparently this is the same person that said that it's a limbo period. Okay, well, when you make an offer and it's accepted, that's generally the beginning. Okay, the middle is the contingencies and the end is when you close. Okay, so I don't know why they say that when you make an offer and it's accepted. Okay, the contract hasn't even started until it's accepted. It has nothing to do with your offer, so they say it's the middle. Whatever, I'm just saying it's the source. Let's see what else they say. Okay, right here, backing out of a sale while you're under contract without a contingency puts you at risk of losing your earnest money. That is your deposit, okay, and the binder. And the seller could even take you to court to force you to close on the home under what's called specific action. Winding up court is less common, but it is a serious risk. anyone can back out, and it happens. And we're going to look at these numbers and compare with, last week's when I put them in the chart to see how many people have backed out of these pending deals. But if you do back out after your contingencies have cleared, then you risk losing your deposit. Most of the time, that deposit goes back to the broker, and depending on the agreement, on whether the seller gets it all or gets part of it and shares it with the broker, it depends. But that is payment for the time that seller took that house off the market while you played around with the contingencies. And what happens is some people, play this game, that they're looking for other houses, while they're in this contingency period, and if they see something else I like better than the one that I got offered, then they'll back out. Now, if they back out under depending on the contract, these certain times, they can get that binder back. But, it's not good practice to do that. If I have my customer is the one buying, and I do not have them putting offers on other houses, I don't believe it's an ethical thing to do. And if they don't want to use me and use someone else, so be it. I'm not going to do that. I've got a good reputation with buyers and sellers. Okay, let's take a look at those scary interest rates. All right, we were well into the sixes last week. Let's see where we're at today, January 12th, on Mortgage News Daily. Let's see, we ended last week, you can see on the 5th there, at 6.5, climbing up to 7. Well, what happened? Went down. 6.07 today. We went down. Let's see what that VA did. Now, those VA mortgages are generally less. They get a better deal. Look at that. Went back into the 5s. 5.7. That means the FHA probably followed suit. And there we are. 5.65. Are you kidding me? Remember, if you've been watching any of my other bubble watches, you see when I talk about people that said at the end of the year interest rates are going to be 8%, and at end of the year came and went and they weren't. Then they said, oh, wait, 2023, we're going to go. So last week when they started hitting 6.5 and they're getting the 6s, I could hear the crowd cheering of those people that want that. And I didn't know. I'm saying, oh, here we go. We may go into 7. Maybe we'll hit that 8, because people are saying that we're going to hit 10 this year in 2023. We're back in the 5s. Huh? That's why I do this show, to show you what's happening. And so you can make your own decision based on the real numbers, not the scary headlines. All right, let's look and see what that price per square foot was. All right, here we are. That price per square foot is still staying at $192. And then over here, the inventory, you saw where that big dip. Let's go back. We'll go back to 6 months where we see it better. And it's kind of stabilizing off, and we'll see how that goes with this week's numbers. But that price per square foot, still at $192. It's still holding up there. It hasn't dropped when you look at this chart as fast as it went up, okay? And maybe this could be a reason why. United States Census Bureau, Florida, the fastest growing state for the first time since 1957. All right, let's put this together. Fastest growing state. I think Idaho was actually up there for a while, but Florida has taken over. All right, now, okay? And so you got more people coming in to a certain area with a limited supply of homes, because inventory, even though it's gone up, is still low compared to the 08 mess, all right? But, let me give you a great example of this funnel. The Florida Keys. Man, it's a great place. I love the Keys, okay? The Keys are a very small part of Florida, okay? Just some islands. Now, a lot of people would love to live there. So what happens? The price living in the Keys is a lot more than living up here in Jacksonville, right? And of course the insurance, too, because you're more vulnerable to those ocean hurricanes. But it's a supply and demand. If more people want to live there, you know, I mean, that's just the way it is. So, all right, let's now put all that data that I got, let's put it into charts. Let's see what those charts look like. All right, here we are, week 35, and the active listings, 6454. They continue to drop off. Back there in week 30 when we hit 7,000, and then we kind of went up there, and then they've been dropping ever since. So less people are putting their houses on the market, okay? So that even though the inventory has increased over last year, it still is going down now, so there's less. Sold this last week, 284. Wow. That's a big drop from what we've been seeing, okay? So, let me ask you, is this the bottom? Is this the crash? Did it happen this week based on these numbers? Let's look at the rest of these numbers. Okay, contingent taking back up, 598 came up. Remember, those are homes going under contract. It increased, pending, 495. All right, it gives us a total, we add those two together, comes to 1,093. Those are homes under contract. Okay, so the pending numbers went up, but you know, it's hard to tell without really dissecting everything. And you look back these other weeks, and you can freeze this video to look at these other previous weeks on this chart. But it's like, okay, did the pending go up? You know, did the sales go down and the pendings go up, okay, because people held off, or did people back out? Okay, like that article just said, people are backing out of deals at a record amount right now. So did they back out this last week? Okay, and that's why the sales went down, or there's not as many people buying, I don't know. But then we see the pending numbers go up, okay? And, well, pending and contingent, which are people under contract, and they go up. So it's a mix. That's why I just throw these numbers at you so that you can see it every week, what's going on. Let's look at the rest of them. All right, people that withdrew their listing, 95, stayed about there where we were last week, expired. Wow, 181. We had that huge jump in expireds, and now it's settled back down to where it's been a couple weeks prior to that. All right, new homes sold, 34. That's a big drop. Now remember, when I show these new homes, they are part of the active listings total. It's not added to those active listings and all, and it's also part of the total sold. I'm just showing how many of those are actually new construction deals so we can see, because you know, all the headlines and a lot of the scuttlebutt is that builders are, you know, in a mess right now. They're not building anymore, and this and that, and so we want to see what these new construction numbers do and kind of track them along with everything, but they are part of that. So when this new construction, that number dropped that much, that's why that sold number went down so much, you see? I mean, because they're part of it, so it went down. Now, why did those numbers drop so much? That's the question. Let's see how many of them that they've got listed for sale. Okay, the active listings went up 1746. Well, if they're still putting houses on the market, and they are still building, I go out to some of these sites and I see them completing them, then that stands to reason, you know, those numbers will go up. All right, let's sit there and compare the foreclosures from last week. Okay, here we've got week 35, foreclosures 22, that's up a couple. Pre-foreclosures 12, up 3 there. Short sales up to 9. Total up from 37 to 43. Okay, so, but that isn't our highest. When everyone's saying they're looking at this week back here, last week 37, before 40, 36, 40. Well, let's go back to week 29 when it was at 47. And then it was going down, and now it creeped up a little. All right, here we are, week 35. We're looking at the cash. 31% paid cash, 44% paid conventional, 11% FHA, and 12% VA, and 2% other. Well, I mean, that cash did go up. I mean, but we saw it at 32% back there in week 30. but it's gone up, and so it seemed to suck a little bit out of the conventional, although conventional is still king. They say cash is king, but in the case of selling your home, a conventional mortgage seems to be king there. So, with these cash deals, I'm still seeing people that are looking to buy homes to turn them into rentals, not so much flipping them, okay, to make money on selling them, especially in this market here. Got to be really careful as these prices have been dropping. And so, but not all the cash buyers are buying them to rent. It's all relative to where you come from. A lot of people right here think these prices are sky high in Jacksonville. I do videos on listings also, not just on this Bubble Watch series and on my vlogs of towns, but I also do listings and homes that are for sale, and I show them. And then people will make comments like, "Oh, that house ain't worth $400,000. It's only worth $200,000 to me." Yeah, well, a lot of times, that may be true, but it's like I says, if you come from an area where the housing's a lot more expensive than Jacksonville, even you don't even have to come out of the state, just come from South Florida or Tampa. Jacksonville's still a better deal for homes compared to those areas, and then with all the people flooding into Florida, a lot of them head down to South Florida, so it pushes those South Florida folks out. And that's what's happening, and some people even are leaving the area of Southwest where they got, they were weary of the storm and fixing everything and just want to get out and don't want to be so close to the coast anymore. So, we have some of that. All right, let's check out some of these other stats and these other charts. Okay, here we have week 35, homes that sold for $500,000 and above, 23% this year. This week of those that sold. So last week they were 25, before that 24, before that 27. So it dropped a little bit. So a little bit, of these higher homes didn't sell this last week. Homes that sold under list, 76%. That's taken a jump. And as we look, go all the way back to week 24, it's been, steadily going up. Had a couple ups and downs there, but now we're at 76%, okay? Homes that sold at list, 18%, stayed about the same. Homes that sold above list dropped, okay? Now we're at 6%. And when I'm looking across here, that is the lowest, okay? So we've hit the lowest as far as that. Again, we're going to have to, see how these next weeks go to see where that number goes, It's so crazy, Sometimes, we do this show and you think you hit this trend and the next week everything goes crazy. And, these interest rates dropping back into the 5s, okay, here, these last few days. Is that going to make a difference for next week's numbers? It might. We'll see. People may want to lock in and get something, before the rates go up if they really think, based on what those other people were telling everybody that interest rates are going to 10% or 8% this year, they may want to lock it. So we'll see if it makes a difference. Let's see what the new homes did. Okay, here we go. Homes that sold under list. This is new construction, week 35, 57%. Okay, that went down quite a bit. Okay, matched week 33, but last week it was really up. Okay, but it's still higher than a lot of these other previous weeks, okay? Just last week was kind of like a little blip there in the other direction. Homes that sold at list, 30%, okay? That is a big increase, and they took some of that away from the homes that sold above list, which were 13% this week, down from 17 and 23 and 24, okay? So we're seeing less of those selling above list right now for the new construction. Well, that's our charts, so you know what that means? It's house of the week. You know what? I think this is probably my favorite, just because it gets so much reaction from people. Now, we're going to take a look at this house, see what it sold for, what the people bought it for. It happened, and see, did they do okay? Did they, take a beating? Because right now, things are really, really off, and I've got a lot to say about this house of the week. I even got a headline to go with it too. Okay, here we are, the house of the week. Original list price was $445, ended up selling for $375. Oh my gosh, another one. $70,000 below asking. Oh my gosh. $70,000, and we're not talking about an $800,000 house. Holy cow. It's like a 15% drop. Let's dive into this a little more. Okay, as you can see here, it actually closed today, okay, because I'm filming this today on the 12th, and it was on the market for 39 days, which is low in this environment. So, we also look here, and some of the things they talk about the house, that there was no expense was spared on upgrades, you know, brand new HVAC, some other stuff, bathrooms, this and that. A lot of stuff, the stainless steel appliances and things, granite countertops. Looks like they put a lot into this house. Okay, so they put some money into selling this, all right? Let's take a look now to see when they bought it and what they paid for it. Okay, now this is kind of a little strange deal here. Now, the person that bought this, you can see they bought it December of 2003, paid $171,900, but it was new just before that. The first person that bought it new was paid $170,000 the same year, you know, just like about, you know, was it like 8 months earlier, 9 months earlier, and then sold it. So I don't know what went on there, but we don't care about that. We care about this person here that sold it, and they bought it for $171,900 back then. Okay, now let's look at the appreciation calculator that I do to see over that time, because that's like about like 19 years. Okay, these people had it. So they were in it for the long haul. Okay, again, these people bought a home. It was a purchase to live in, a place to live, okay? Wasn't an investment, okay, because they weren't looking to invest, and we'll definitely see that in this appreciation calculator. Let's check it out. Okay, as you can see here, where they bought it $171,900, 19 years, comes to about a 4.2% appreciation. That's low. Now, it can be that these folks have, right now, by selling now, okay, in January of 2023, are hit by this low market, okay, and they got it. Now, remember though too, they took this offer, okay, after only like 39 days, I think it was, something on the market, where most homes are taking 60 days or more now. So, and this was a cash deal. So I'm thinking somebody threw the cash at them, and they went for it instead of taking a chance with someone trying to finance it for a higher amount or not. I don't know. It wasn't my listing, so I don't know those particulars, what happened. But, you know, all my other bubble watches are up there on my channel, so you can always look at them, and I don't remember when I said this and all before, but I had said it a few bubble watches ago, that if you're anticipating the housing market to drop another 10% or 15% this year or something like that, then if you find a house you want, make an offer with that 10 or 15% below, okay? So look at this house. See, it was $445, and it sold for $375. Okay, a house that was listed $445 in normal conditions, it would be laughed at making an offer of $375, but that was 15% less. And remember what I said, okay? Go in there, make it. So this guy, whoever, or gal, whoever bought this house, said, you know what? I've got cash. There's $375. There's my offer cash. And they took it. They took it, 15% less. So if the market drops, these folks, from their standpoint, are okay. Now I know there's people out there that are telling me, right? I hear you screaming into the video, saying, yeah, they bought, you know, at $375, but it's only worth $325, so it still ain't a good deal. Well, we don't know. Like I said, what determines the market? The buyer. If the buyer's willing to pay $375, then that's what the market is for that house, okay, at this time. Okay, and that's the way it works. It's all about what people buy. Now I want to show you this headline that goes with all this and a little bit of what I've been saying. Okay, here we are. Money Grant Cardone, and if you don't know him, then look him up. Self-made millionaire. Don't buy a home unless you can afford to waste money. All right, what does he mean by this? Right here, so when is it a good idea to buy a home? In his opinion, don't buy a home unless you can afford to waste money. At best, a home is a place to call your own, and it can provide stability. But if your goal is to create wealth, there are so many other options, such as a stock market or commercial real estate investing. He goes, I also don't believe that owning a home should be considered as part of the American dream. As the American dream, for the most part, it's simply a place to live, and there are always costs attached. What have I been saying? If you're looking for a place to live, this is a purchase, just like he says, okay? You don't think about it. It's not an investment unless you're in the business of real estate to buy and sell to make money, or you're looking to rent them out, something like that. Buying a home, he says, it creates stability and it's a place to live. You got to live somewhere. Do you rent? Okay, do you live with family? Whatever, you know, you got to have some place. And if you purchased a home, it gives you some stability. Here's where the stability comes in. You know, if you get a 30-year mortgage, you know how much those monthly payments are going to be pretty much for your, you know, P&I, you know, the principal and interest, okay? They're not going to change based on the contract. What does change is insurance and taxes. Now in Florida, if you're homesteaded, if you declare a homestead exemption, it's your home where you're living in, your taxes can't go up more than 3% a year. So there you can kind of figure that out. Insurance is the only other wild card, you know, which can change a lot. And right now in Florida, that is a problem with some places. And so, but it gives you more stability than the rent, because the rent, you know, that landlord, especially if it's a home you're renting and not an apartment, what if that landlord decides they just want to sell the property? Okay, your lease is up in a few months, and then they say, you know, we're not going to renew it, we're selling the property. Okay, now you got to scramble to find something, whereas a home you don't. And then as he says, you know, it's a waste of money. Okay, it's a waste of money as an investment, and looking at it from an investment point. Because yeah, okay, you know, when we have these homes, that I show these homes of the week, of course there's costs associated. This one here we just showed, they spent a bunch of money fixing it up. You know that if you buy a house, you have a house and you're going to be in it 20 years, you're going to make repairs. There's cost going into it, okay? There's cost buying a house, cost selling a house, all that. You know, I'm showing you these homes just to give you a comparison of what the market is and what it's doing. Not investment. This isn't called Investment Watch, okay? We're dealing with investors on how to best invest your money in real estate. I'm focused mainly on people that are looking to buy a home to live in, to purchase, because you don't know what to do. You know, you got to look at these numbers and then you figure it out. You know, if it's something you can afford right now, the house is where you want it, you like it, you plan on being there for several years, doesn't matter. Me, I didn't care. When I bought my house, I didn't care about the market, what the market was going to do in the future to resell it, okay? It doesn't matter to me. And if any of you have been watching me from the beginning, you know the first house I bought when interest rates were 18% back in the 80s. I still bought it. I refinanced in a few years and then I sold it. I said, but you know what? I mean, that's just the way it is. So I give you all this information, give you these headlines, all this, because it's ultimately your decision on whether to buy or whether to sell.